Hello everybody, and welcome to another video in the How to Solo Eve series. Now you might already say, Jesse, this doesn't look like your solo town, and it is not, because today's video is going to be about advanced honey farming. And I say advanced because the honey farm that I have in the tutorial series, it's a good one, it works, but there are different ways for you to make your honey farm. And you should never be limited to what I say as like, oh, this is how I make my farm, because there are other ways that might work better for you. And I always suggest just try different ways to make honey. Every way has its advantages and disadvantages. So this is the honey farm that we started with in River Meadow. This is River Meadow, by the way. This is a town that was built by me, Cinder, Zabala, Erie, and Snowberry. But I would say that Erie is responsible for most of the buildings in this town. So this honey farm over here, this is where the honey farm began. And as you can see, it doesn't really have a fence around it, but that's not needed because bees and flowers, they can be biome locked, as in you do not need a fence as long as there's a natural border, which there is. So you can see that there's already bees up here at the top as well. They can't really leave because there's not a lot of room for them to go. So if they go anywhere, it's going to be south over here, and that's where they will leave their honey. Now, at the start, this biome did not have any flowers whatsoever, so I planted a bunch of milkweed, and I think I had like 20 milkweed in here, and some of them are still around, so you can see the flowering milkweed here and here. Now, milkweed that's flowering acts the same way as a flower does, which means that it can give the honeybees their red bud. And if the honeybee has a red bud, then it could basically pollinate one of these beehives or leave the honey in one of the beehives, and then you got your honey. So this is what I call the horizontal setup, the horizontal honey farm. I think this is very nice because if you use your keyboard controls by holding shift, you kind of stay in place, and you don't need to, click very far. Everything is done in one spot. You're not walking around. So a lot of it is done in the same space. Now there are these beehives here, and then at this point you will say, well, Jesse, now you do need to walk around to put it in the bowls, and that's true. So there's a little bit of movement here, but it's not much. It's just a little tap, right? You don't need to walk around, and you can keep your mouse hand sort of over the same position while you do this, as long as you use your keyboard. So I just clicked spacebar to pick it up, then I click the bowl, spacebar to pick up this. I tap Shift W. Well, the shift is always being held down. I'm always holding down my shift. So I tap W to put it on the top. Because your WASD, that's like your top, left, bottom, right? And then over here, I pressed A to basically pick up what's to the left of me. So I got another honey. I press Shift A again, and now I pick up the other box like that. So I'm not clicking, I'm not doing a lot with my mouse hand. I'm just moving it very slightly from one bowl to the next. And yeah, and most of it is just what I do with my keyboard. So for me, this is a good way. Then when it comes to making the honey itself, you get your entire shelf full of honey, or a lot of it anyway. So you basically crush all of it at the same time, and then at this point you just click the bowl of filtered honey, and then you put that back in an empty bowl. Now this means that you always need to have one empty bowl minimum, and now I am walking around more for this part. However, one thing we also have, if you're like, we have too much debris, you can put them in a trash can. They will despawn automatically as well. So if you're like, oh, I have no room, where am I going to put this? You can put it in the trash can. You can also leave it in the bowl as long as you have other empty bowls to work with. So sometimes I just leave them in the bowls. They will despawn too. But then I just look for other empty bowls to put to keep processing the honey, right? So there's now a lot of bowls that are not empty, but these will become empty because the dirty bee wax is going to despawn. So yeah, it's not a perfect way, but I don't think there's one way that is perfect, to be honest. I think every way leaves something to be desired. But all in all, this is a pretty good way. Also, we have these shelved mason jar at the bottom, so you can stock up on honey all the way over here at the bottom. So that's that. Also, I'm just driving around with purple clothes because we had a competition during the Christmas market event, and now I've got all the Christmas clothing on me to distribute to the masses. Well, not the masses. There's 5 people who won these Christmas these purple outfits. So I'm just waiting for them to come pick them up at River Meadow. If they're going to pick it up today, I don't know if they even read it. So we'll see. Anyway, this was the first honey farm, the first advanced honey farm in a way. And this was sort of the simplest thing. It's very basic, as in no fences around it, right? You do have your shelves, etc. And also we have these wire fence gates instead of regular fence gates. You might be wondering why. What is the difference between a wire fence gate and a regular fence gate? Wire fences do not block you for a second. You can walk around really fluently. See? Whereas if you have a regular gate, it blocks you a tiny bit, and there's a possibility you will leave the gate open if it's a horizontal one. With these wire fence gates, that's not the case, and they're quite lovely. They look very nice. They're made out of copper wires and such, and I think they're a very beautiful build. But simultaneously, this is not an early game thing you should make. Just make a regular fence gate at the start if you want to block something off. And also, yeah, we did make sure that the bees would not be going too far. I think the bees cannot travel this way. I think this is too far for them. And sometimes I might have even put things over here if I wasn't sure about it. So it is biome locked. They are kind of stuck to this biome, and we are getting new honey whenever. See, there's more bees around here now. They're getting a lot of honey. The problem is sometimes they don't find it to the bottom because it is such a big biome, but it's also a garden, so it's all good. Now, this is only the first honey farm we have in River Meadow. And you might be wondering, why do you have so many honey farms? Well, look around. Look at all the flowers that you see and all the trees that are not natural that we planted in this section. Like, these trees are not natural. You don't get these trees and these biomes, right? So we got a lot of little forests in River Meadow. And, well, to make forests, you need honey. So, of course, we have a lot of honey farms because we're constantly working with honey. Also, this is a really big tree farm we have. At the moment, no trees are planted, but you can still see we got some budlogs around here. And there's also a little bit of budlogs over here in the storage. So this is a massive tree farm for which we need a lot of honey too. And when we built this tree farm, I think Erie said, well, now the honey is too far from the tree farm. So she made another honey farm over here. And this honey farm is a different design. It's actually got 2 sort of designs in one. It's got this section of the design, which is, I think the first people I saw do this were Tanya and Whale, though I'm not sure they take the credit for it. And this is a way that uses way more cloth. Now, the one you saw at the top only had 1 cloth, right? We were like, 1 cloth, that's it. Because at the start of the game, you don't want to be making 12 different cloths or even 24 like in this farm, right? You just want 1 cloth. And then over here, we once again have sort of the same situation as we do at the top. The only difference here is that we're not at the bottom of the farm, we're at the top of the farm, which I kind of prefer. If I have to choose, I'd rather be at the top of the farm than at the bottom. I just feel like that's like a little bit easier. And then over here, you can do the same thing we did at the top, basically, at the other farm that we have. So this top section, sort of the same. The one disadvantage, if it is at the top, like if you're trying to fill up this, right? Like if you're trying to fill up a shelf above you, it's really hard to reach those balls that are behind your body. What I always do when I'm a baby, I do these farms, like when I'm 3 years old, because you're so short, you can reach all the balls that are now being blocked by my giant ass, right? Like, I will be using that as a baby. So as a baby, I will often be working in honey farms because I'm smaller, and if I stand underneath it, I'm not blocking the entire view of the shelf. So that's one of the reasons why this is also something I do when I'm a baby. So the stop pond, very similar to the one we saw first. Now this section is a little bit different. Over here as well, you will put your honey over here. And The one thing that I dislike a little bit more here is that you need to do more walking to cut away the honey than on the other farm. It's a little bit more. This is the one disadvantage I would say to these honey farms in this particular setup. Now they probably could have put these beehives in a different way so that I wouldn't need to do as much walking. It just if they did like a horizontal line as usual, it would be very similar to how we have it. Now for the rest of it, you know, crushing is basically one fluent motion, and then you stand over here, and now the clicking is very different, but it's way more done with the mouse. I feel it's you move the mouse a lot more. Is my impression, but not in a bad way necessarily. So you left click the bowl, and then you right click the entire shelf just to get a new one. Left click, right click, left click, right click. So this becomes very easy. I'm not using the keyboard at all. I don't need to use the keyboard. I don't need to hold down shift. I don't need to WASD, but you do need a mouse that works very well. So if you don't have a well-working mouse, then this will be slower and not so good. Now the next part of this is where you basically take all the filtered honey and you take out the clot, and now you do the same thing, left click, right click, left click, right click here. Once again, you're not using your keyboard for anything. This is just what you do for a while, just a lot of clicking. And it's very simple. So left click, right click, left click, right click. But of course you do need to aim a little bit for all the proper bowls in there. But now that's done. So yeah, this is a way that works well as well. Now this is something I didn't show in the previous farm, but it would have worked exactly the same here as well. Now I do take the bowls with shift. I did shift W to pick it up, and now I just left click in here. I do shift, right? Can I shift? No, I can't. No, you do need your mouse for that. So once again, using your mouse is probably simpler than shift Wing over here. So we're just filling some of these jars up. Here we go, not done yet. Now we're done. So having a section of jars like this is always very handy. So yeah, we do like it like this. Okay, so this is basically the second honey farm. Other things that are advanced about this, do keep in mind if you do this honey farm, in this case we were in a very big green biome, so we did need borders, but we did natural looking borders, as in the trees are natural borders, but there are also hidden fences between them. You can see the fences, but you don't really see the fences very much, or just very little bit of the fence when you're walking around. So it looks like a natural border, or doesn't, or in some places it even looks like there is not a border at all. But the trees are the borders as well, keeping the bees locked in there. And then we have some hedges. We have more of these wire fence gates. And also very important, this wire fence gate here at the corner, because if you don't do that at the corner, the bees are just going to fly through it. They can move diagonally. So you do need to make sure that they can't get out. The shelves will be blocking, and of course the brick arches, etc., will be blocking as well. But in here, yeah, it's a lot of natural stuff. Also, this farm itself doesn't have every single flower there is. It's just got some pink and yellow and purple flowers, just to have a bit of a color theme going on. So you can absolutely do your honey farm with just a few colors. You don't need all different flowers. But for the first video that I did on honey, I did use every single flower there was, because I think that's nice, because especially if it's your first town, or if you don't have any flowers yet, just get a collection of every single flower there is in the game, so that you at least have, you know, a place to go if you need those cuttings or anything. Now we are leaving River Meadow officially, but we are going to Christmas Market, because Christmas Market has a honey farm as well. Now you will have seen 3 different honey farms and very close to each other. So this is the honey farm of the Christmas Market, and this is it uses a bit of both worlds, right? Like it's got the shelf where you got like 12 different bowls of cloth, It's also got some jars, but it's also a very creative build. It's shaped like a bee, so it's a bit more of a pixel build. The beehives are here. The beehives used to be on this line, but we had a problem that the beehive over on this spot here, would always be empty. And you might be like, why? Well, if you press X, you can see that it's different biomes, and bees are biome locked, so they will only move around in the swamp, because that's where they come from. They come from the swamp tiles. And if you put an empty bee box here, then that bee would be locked to the yellow biome, but there would be no flowers in the yellow biome, so it wouldn't get any honey whatsoever. So yeah, this is a more creative look. Also, this one only has 3 flowers, exact same color as the other one, because these are the favorite flowers of Erie and I. Also, it matches this design very well. Yeah, this honey farm is a little bit different. One of the things that I find a bit annoying about this honey farm, if you need them from the middle, once again, you will be moving around very much. You need to do a lot of walking to get these towards where you are processing the honey, which I don't think is ideal, but all in all, it is a good honey farm. People have been using this for just a little bit of honey for the Christmas market, and as you can see, all the jars are full, most of the bowls are full. People have been using this, and yeah, the Christmas market was always well stocked in honey. I feel like people enjoy working in nice little areas for doing any honey farming and such. So yeah, guys, that was it for my video on advanced honey farming and what you might encounter in terms of honey farms, how they might look. Now, there are also other places where you could get honey in case you're really like, oh no, I need honey. Just look for places where there are fruit trees. Like there's fruit trees here, and if they have fruit, there's usually honey very close. Not a big amount of honey, but just if you're looking for a yum and you're like, oh, I'm craving honey. There are like, look at this place of honeycombs over here. This is not a honey farm, but there is like a bunch of honey here just because people have been cutting them out of the bee boxes that provide fruit. And these fruits are then used on the farm often as fruits are not always eaten, by the way. They're often used to make soil in soil boxes. Because you need to feed it 3 different fruits or veggies, and fruits are easy because you don't need to chop them up. So people love using fruits in soil boxes. But yeah, there's more honey in the Christmas market than just this. Yeah, that was what I wanted to show you guys. I hope you found this little video on advanced honey farms interesting. I hope you have some inspiration for your own honey farm. There is a thread on the Discord which is called Honey and Bee Box Inspiration. It's an old thread. It's been from before one of the honey reworks. We used to have to boil honey. We used to have to boil honey in order to have usable honey. So our first, honey farms look different, as in that we had like a place, usually they had a fireplace to go with it. So that's something you can see at the start of that thread. You can see that there was a different meta, that people were adding, fire pits to their honey farms because you needed fire at some point. But currently we don't need that anymore. Our honey farms make way more sense in the terms of like, is it like a real honey farm than it was in the past. Also, this honey farm is very close to the silk farm. There's a little silk farm here. It's a very big silk farm, if I do say so myself. But that makes sense as well. Just keep your honeys close to your tailors, to your silk farms, to your tree farms, to your regular farms is also sometimes nice, because especially if you have an orchard next to it, or if it's both orchard and honey farm. But you can see that we sort of keep orchard and honey farm separate. Like there's places where you can find a lot of fruit, like here as well, and there are honey boxes, but we don't have a proper farm here, right? It's just like you can get honey from it, but it's not the honey farm. It's an orchard, or it's just a few trees. We also have a bigger orchard around here. This is like, it's still a tiny orchard. It's only got like 4 honey boxes, like 4 beehives. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 fruit trees over here. So per tree we have, or per 3 trees, we have 1 honey box, and that's plenty to give all of these their fruits. And this is next to a farm again, so we can make soil boxes with this fruit, which just restocks all the time, whether you take away the honey or not. You just keep on getting honey from it, so and fruit. So it's perfect to go next to your farms, I'd say. And we also do that at the brickery. We also have we also have fruit trees around brickeries because for bricks you need a lot of soil, and for soil you need a lot of fruit. So we often do fruit trees near where we make our bricks as well, just to have it. And yeah, it works. It works. It's a bit of urban planning, right? You got to think like, what am I going to use it for, or what do I need the fruit for? That's where I'm going to put my orchard. And same with the honey. Like, what am I going to use the honey for? For example, silk. Okay, and I'm going to put it next to my silk farm. I'm going to use it for trees because I want a tree farm. Then I'm going to put it next to my tree farm. So, or if you're like, no, I just need a little bit of food, then, you know, it can be sort of in a random place or close to the farm where people might be looking for food as well. There's all sorts of things you can do. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I will see you next time. And remember, eat yum, eat meh. Bye-bye.